you even know what you were really guarding here? The real purpose of this place? You don't know, do you?
What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Into the Westworld. This is our Westworld After Show podcast where we talk about the episode that just aired during the current season. The current season is season 2, and this is episode 2, Reunion. I am Griffin Schiller, and I'm joined by two lovely co-hosts, Mr. Zach Pope and Mr. Tyler Tompkins. Zach Pope. Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm ready to talk Westworld. This was a fantastic episode, even though I told you right before that it sucked, but I was lying. Absolutely. This episode was one of the best episodes in quite a while in Westworld. Maybe one of the best ones that they've had.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later on, but Mr. Tyler Tompkins, introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? I'm Tyler, and I'm going to mimic what Zach just said. This is one of the best Westworld episodes of all time. One of the best.
Oh, my God.
Really
one of the
enjoyed
best
it.
of all time.
Yeah.
Wow, we're going that far.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it was a really good episode. I do agree with you. I think it was very intriguing. It kind of got back to what season 1 was doing with some of its more philosophical stuff, and it was very Dolores heavy, which is one of the reasons why I loved it. I think it's actually one of the reasons why we all loved it.
She's one of the best characters in the show. So I mean,
yeah, well, absolutely. And what they're doing with her charter is just awesome. But
I also liked Teddy got some stuff in there too.
Love that, dude. Love that.
Yeah, Teddy did get a little bit more in this, but so I guess let's kick this whole thing off. Let's just kind of go around the horn here and just talk about the stuff we liked, what stuff maybe we didn't like, if there is any. And we'll start with you, Tyler. What was your favorite part of the episode? And how do you think it's going to affect things going forward?
Yeah, I think I was talking with you similar in our group message, and I think you and I like the same thing. What I loved about this episode so much was that a lot of it took place in the real world, and it was kind of nice to take a break from Westworld and the laboratory and, just go into the city and see Dolores in the city with Bernard. I loved all of that, and I also loved seeing them giving a sales pitch to Logan to buy or to invest in Westworld. I like seeing him.
That was really interesting part. I love that.
Kind of like it was like the business origins of Westworld, because like in season 1 we saw like the origins of it, like the creating of artificial intelligence and stuff through Ford and Bernard. But in this episode, they really started to explore Westworld expanding as like a company, as a corporation through was it Delos corporation.
Yeah.
Well, it's just great to see that in general. Like when he walks in the room and he I mean, we kind of all knew it's like this whole room they're all hosts.
Yeah.
They're all hosts.
That was, oh my God. The moment where he goes up to the girl that we clearly know is one of the hosts. He's like,
something's a little wrong with her eyes.
And then everyone stops, and I'm just like, oh my gosh,
this is so great.
I love Ben Barnes in this show, but
dude, he's fantastic. He is so underrated. Like I wish he was in more stuff.
He's a great actor.
Great in this. Yeah, totally.
No, I completely agree. But anyway, so Zach, what was your favorite part of the episode?
So that's actually one of my favorite moments. But if I'm gonna go different, my favorite moment is when they go in and see Gus from Breaking Bad, and that whole sequence when Ford and all the guys just kill themselves, and Ford is totally playing these guys.
That was
a fantastic moment, and I cannot wait to see where that comes about. And just another moment to shoot in there is that it really feels like this season's building up to have one big action sequence.
Oh, yeah.
With Dolores building up an army and whatnot. I feel like we're going to get some big action heavy set piece when they're talking about like the 600 army people coming. That's going to be some intriguing stuff down the road.
Right. No, I completely agree. That was actually also one of my favorite moments. I really liked the ending and how they tied in, William's weapon that I guess he built inside of the park to like Dolores, what she's going to find. But that's moment, that's really, I want to get to that a little bit later on. But but I agree with you. The moment, because we talked about this last episode, but we were speculating, Ford's going to be toying with William the entire season, and this episode basically just like confirmed it when he's like speaking through the other hosts, and then they all shoot themselves. It's like, no, it's not going to be that easy. You're going to have to really work for it. And I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I want. I want Ford messing with William from beyond the grave.
And I think we see that is that, I mean, we always saw their partnership and like they're kind of like back and forth in the first season, but this season's kind of going back to back where we see that William was actually
He's a
part of helping making Westworld, which is something that I don't think any of us noticed. I thought it was just Westworld was already built and William just joined in and he was like, this is something I love. But no, obviously he has a way bigger part of it. Plus, we even saw his daughter and his wife. And his wife kind of got a little jealous with Dolores staring at him. So
right, which then begs the question, so in season 1, when we follow him and Logan and Dolores on their adventure to where he becomes the Man in Black ultimately, I guess Westworld was kind of operating at that point in time, but maybe it was kind of like a sales pitch for investors to come in and like expand the company.
Kind of like maybe like beta testing, maybe.
Yeah, I guess that would be kind of what it was like because you're right. Like this is very much like the beginnings of expanding the park and stuff like that. So that was really cool. The other stuff that I really liked, I want to quickly mention, is the beginning where Bernard is talking with Dolores. And they're talking about the state of the world, and saying how, we are going to your world because we don't like what's going on in our world right now. We kind of like mucked it up and everything. And Dolores is like looking out and seeing the beauty in it.
Stars, that line where I have a feeling. So I was actually going to make this prediction. I have a feeling that the whole show, that last thing where he's like, I want you to take me back here, I have a feeling that'll either tie in by the end of the season or by the end of the whole series. I think that the specific moment when Dolores says that line, it has some big implications for the show.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you. And I think hopefully by the end of the season, I would like to see that. But
so you're thinking, so Tyler, you're thinking more of like a season finale kind of thing as opposed to.
I'm thinking series. I hope,
series. But I'm thinking probably series too.
Another thing I want to throw in there though is, did you guys recognize how the Chinese like things in the back? So I was reading like some theories before we got on here, is that so apparently, you know how like we forgot to talk about this the last week with how it's islands of different places.
Yes, right.
And
islands.
Me and my dad were even talking about this in looking up theories, is that maybe the islands are off the coast of China. I mean, looking at like where this house was, it kind of looks like
very possible.
So it's kind of like that. I mean, it's not like, it's just cool to see like, okay, maybe this is where these things are actually built at.
Well,
like,
and
it's
so
actually in the world, like
yeah,
that's actually,
and the Chinese military and stuff like showing up on the beach.
It's in the West world, Westworld.
It's literally the West
world.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because during that the retirement party, I guess, for the father Delos, the guy who I guess was legitimately the partner with Ford and Bernard, which I believe we saw him in a picture in season 1. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I
think we did.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Lots of stuff happened in season 1, so if people are gonna comment and be like, "That didn't happen," we're sorry.
Well, then, like, sorry,
please
I didn't
correct
look it up
us
beforehand. But anyway, so during that retirement party, I think that was actually taking place on one of the islands before it was fully developed. It looked, and we look out as I think Logan's like looking out at like the cityscape on the shore, like across. And
Probably.
so there's definitely that separation there. And so like, it could just be that they're wealthy and they have like a house on a beach or something like that. But I think it was definitely because the hosts were there and stuff like that, because Dolores was there. I think it's definitely, that party was definitely part of the park, which what I really love about this episode is how they're expanding the world. Like they really did a great job of like showcasing just like Westworld before it was Westworld, and like how it's not just this confined space.
And I'm glad we got that. I mean, that's the hard thing about, like we talked about, is like predicting the show from week to week. I mean, like none of this, I expected to see tiny bits of like this, but we didn't even get like this episode. As much as I like wanted to go more on Tessa Thompson's story and all of that in the last episode, in a way, this built upon that episode, but it didn't even go back to any of those storylines. Besides Dolores when she's rounding up and stuff. That's the only thing we got, and a little bit of Maeve. We saw Maeve in there.
I was about to say
the Shogun. Maybe next episode we get Shogun.
Yeah, but let's hope.
I know we're all anticipating that, but that was something I really appreciate, is that it felt like this was just another stepping stone. Again, this season, it feels like every season is like isolated to build up to one big thing at the end. And this episode really blew me away, which is a bunch of little small things.
And that kind of, I guess we could lead into like this weapon, or I'm assuming is a weapon that William created that's in the Valley Beyond. Do any of you have any thoughts of what that might be?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I'm thinking I also too, like I read this, I'm not going to take credit for it, but it's kind of Westworld, it's kind of mimicking internet privacy right now, because they even talked about like,
Oh wow.
you know, people they I think during the sales pitch or something like that, they were like, yes, people who go into Westworld, you know, it's totally private. They can go in here to do whatever they want. But really, they're keeping logs, data logs. I mean, we saw those miners mining the privacy stuff, and maybe they will use that to blackmail people in the future.
Well, yeah, it's like those people were taking the memories, like they were literally taking them out. And a great thing in here is that I don't remember which character said. I think it was William when he was said like, people come here to sin. This is where people come.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that.
God.
We're
like
talking
to
to
hide from
Lawrence.
God, and that whole kind of goes back to like what you were just saying, Tyler. Is that like blackmailing? Like this, like. What's the best way? These freaking corporate people come here with big businesses, and like celebrities probably come here too. I mean, can you imagine if, like, say for instance, I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio, this thing's all real, and Leonardo DiCaprio comes here, and you see him murdering horses, you see him burning landscape, like this dude's all green in real life, but he goes in here and just starts wiping shit out, and they blackmail him.
Yeah,
like to do, I don't know, movie 43 again, but you know, like something in that manner. So I mean, that's something that's great, that like adds more layers. Like this is why I think this episode is like very huge into this whole show.
It's a pretty substantial episode. Yeah,
and this is why I'm glad we have this recap show to discuss this show.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
And I think they too could be keeping the DNA traces to possibly create clones to bring into the real world to replace people.
Ex Machina.
Like get a little bit of Ex Machina, the island in there, all that stuff.
Yeah, to get rid of like maybe like political figures. You can just get rid of them, bring in the host, and I mean, then you have control, you have power. So I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think what this episode also did was
it's real.
But yeah, maybe this is actually going on, guys. We're all being punked. This is actually a reality show. I think what this episode also really did was it painted a path for Dolores. We understand where she's ultimately trying to go. She's going to go into the real world and make them pay for what they
and they're building up to that. I mean, we saw how she was pretty much being used. I do want to say though, do you know what one of my favorite parts in here is when they actually run into Maeve and Dolores walks by, and I think you want to talk with Teddy, what she says to Teddy, and it's pretty much, does he feel free? And in a sense, like he doesn't reply back, but in a sense, you kind of think we're like, well, yeah, he should feel free. They're revolting, but in a sense, he's kind of Dolores' little puppet now.
Well, but that goes back to how Ford programmed him for to be like the henchman of the Wyatt character. So he's still like, he thinks he's operating under free will, and we've seen this in season 1 when Maeve was messing around with like the tablet or whatever.
Yes,
but he's really not.
Something's gonna come out against that. I maybe Dolores kills him.
I could see Teddy revolting against her somewhere. They kind of planted the seeds for that in this episode, so I could definitely see that happening a little bit later down the road.
Yeah, it is really weird though when we get a Bernard scene in the past now, knowing that he is a host, and it's really hard to watch it and be like, man, he's a fucking host, but like no one knows.
Well, but that was interesting because his family, he moved his family to the park. So maybe we'll get Dolores interacting with his family.
I thought his family was just a memory though. I didn't think they were actually real.
No, they were. It was because his whole persona is based off of Bernard, so it would only make sense for those memories to be based off of something. But actually, I don't know if they've ever confirmed that until this episode that Bernard actually had a child. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm sorry.
So hosts can have children.
No, not
okay.
Not
See, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, maybe they can. I mean,
no. What I was saying was it not Bernard. I don't mean Bernard. I mean, oh my God, I'm getting my characters mixed up.
There's too many characters. At least it's not Game of Thrones.
We're playing the same people.
Arnold?
Yes, Arnold. Thank you. Every time I see him, I want to say Bernard because that's what he was introduced.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. When I read stuff,
he's still Bernard to me.
Okay. No, what I meant to say was Arnold. That was Arnold. I think we can establish that was Arnold in the beginning of the season. What that was doing. I'm curious as to if we're gonna get Dolores interacting with Arnold's children. And I think what this shows is that memory that was implanted in Bernard's head was actually real. It was taken from Arnold because
I see that
Bernard's persona is based off of Arnold.
Yeah, it's just like how I'm guessing Ford's consciousness and somewhere in this park. Like, do you guys think maybe Ford built? Yeah, he either alive or maybe he built himself his own host body.
Well, I think we were talking about this a little bit last episode, but I think he did because of when
weren't they talking about like a host under construction or something like that?
Yeah.
So when Bernard kills the one lady, the one that he was like having a relationship with, when he kills her, we see this body under construction in like the basement of that of the house that he made, which was a replica of his own house. So I'm wondering if that wasn't a body that Ford was building for himself.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like, I mean, we see Anthony Hopkins all on Twitter doing some weird shit, but it's building up to something.
Oh, that's right. He did another one.
Could you imagine if like all of a sudden like fucking Bernard or William opens up a door and you just see that fucking
Oh my god, that would kill me. That would kill me. Oh my.
I think it would take me so far out of it, but I think it would die. It'd be my favorite moment in any television show. Nolan fucking with us again.
Oh no, I completely agree. That would be something else. But I guess, is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we give our concluding thoughts on this episode?
I mean, I think we hit a lot of it.
We did. We hit the main stuff, really.
And I mean, not a lot of stuff happened in this episode. Like, it was very much subtle stuff.
Yeah.
That, again, is going to build towards, I wouldn't even say next episode. Next episode is probably honestly going to focus on something completely different.
I'm going to say like Maeve or something.
Yeah,
well, but I don't know, because that episode preview that they gave,
I didn't watch it, so
okay. It showed kind of a battle going on.
Right. That's why we have our preview episodes that drop on Wednesday, because that's when we're going to talk about the upcoming episode.
So, I mean, you mentioned, what kind of weapon is this? Do we want to speculate really fast? Just a quick guess. It's going to be as stupid as possible. What kind of weapon do you guys think it is?
I'm going with the DNA to create people to put in the real world.
He's giving them the power. Yeah, that's. Yeah. I wouldn't even know where to begin, man.
I'm going with a dragon.
A dragon. Yeah.
I don't fucking know what this show anymore.
That's the thing. Like, you can't even guess.
I mean, there's a samurai world. For all we know, there's dragons in there.
Yeah,
it's an infinity stone.
Oh my god!
It's the soul stone. No spoilers.
Soul stone. Yeah, there we go. Oh
it's the Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos, they open it. Thanos is dead.
Holy crap!
Dolores all right, kills him one hit.
Well, let's just go around the triangle here and give our final thoughts on this episode. Tyler, let's start with you.
Yeah, dude, like I said, this is one of my favorite episodes of the show ever, just because it was a nice change of pace, getting to go to the outside world. I felt like I could breathe again, just because we were out of Westworld, we were out of the laboratory. Really nice to be out there, and I want to know what this weapon is, man. I want to know what it is. So,
yeah,
dragon. I'm telling you.
Very intriguing. All right, Mr. Zach Pope, what is your final concluding thoughts on this episode?
Very, very subtle episode, but very great. I love this episode. I think that opening sequence with Ben Barnes' character, like that sequence, like when you get that sequence in there, that was one of my favorite moments in Westworld in general. It was great. Dolores' whole combination with Arnold or Bernard, whoever the fuck you want to say it is, and just everything in here in general just is building up to everything. I was really disappointed though that Gus from Breaking Bad died, because I love that actor and he was doing a great job as El Lazo, but whatever, I understand. You got to do it. He can easily come back. They're robots. You can just fix them up. But it's building up towards something great, and I cannot wait for next episode.
Yeah, no, for real. I'm in the same boat as you guys. I think unanimously, we all thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Got back to some of the more interesting aspects of Westworld. It was nice, subtle episode, like a lot of what you guys said. Very, very much world building, going back in time to explore like the business creation of Westworld. I guess we got a lot of great stuff with William and a lot of great stuff with Dolores, and they are by far two of the most interesting characters in the show. So
absolutely,
anytime that happens, I love it. And anytime they go back in time and develop them, it's even better, because I love Jimmy Simpson. I love
he's
Ben Barnes, and Evan Rachel Wood just knocks it out of the park every time as Dolores. So very, very good episode. So that will do it for this recap show of Westworld Season 2, Episode 2, Reunion. Thank you to my panelists for joining me here. Tyler Tompkins, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram just by searching Tyler Tompkins. That should be the first one that pops up.
Boom. And Mr. Zach Pope, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Zach Pope, or even on Twitter at Pope the King.
And there you have it. And if you like me, guys, and you like what I have to say, you can always give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. Please, if you are listening to this on iTunes, leave us a rating and a review. It really, really helps us out. It helps get the podcast noticed. So if you are a fan of what we're doing here, then definitely do that. If you're watching this on YouTube, on the Men vs. Movies YouTube channel, give that video a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the YouTube channel for more movie reviews, television talk shows, a whole bunch of shit on there that revolves around entertainment and pop culture. So just look around. I'm sure you'll find something you'll like. And you can also like Men vs. Movies on Facebook and follow us on Twitter simply by searching Men vs. Movies. And that's it, guys. That'll do it for this episode of Into the Westworld. And until next time, take care.